Hello guys, this is Prof and welcome to Tech Foundation Africa. This is another video tutorial for our Python for Data Science series, and in this tutorial I'm going to continue with part 2 of the tutorials on strings. In the previous video I talked about string manipulation, string substitution, and in that video I talked about how to use the modulo or string interpolation method. Now in this video I'm going to talk about 3 more methods using the string formatter class, using the template class, and a new method that was introduced in Python version 3.6 and above called fstrings. Okay, so let's get started. Alright, so the formatter class is also one of the built-in string classes, which provides a much efficient way of performing variable substitution and value formatting using the format method. It allows you to extend and customize its behavior by rewriting the format and vformat methods that have been defined in the class. Now, when you implement object-oriented programming, a concept that I will talk about in future videos, you can actually inherit the formatter class and override some methods like the pass, get field, get value, check unused argument, format fields, and convert field. Now all of these methods are defined in the formatter class and are intended to be replaced by subclasses. If you don't get what I'm saying, well, don't worry. When we look at object-oriented programming in Python, you will understand the concept of inheritance and subclasses and all those things. Okay, now to keep it simple and sweet, I will not go deeper into the formatter class. I will reserve it for an advanced course in Python programming in the future. Now in this video I will just talk about the various ways to use the format method. Probably you've seen me use it in previous videos without an explanation. Okay, so let's get started. Let's say I want to print out a statement that says Eric is a good man. Alright, but this time around I want to replace the name Eric with any other name. Is that okay? So I can create a name variable called name and assign it to something like Evans. Okay, so how do I insert it in my statement? Well, for what it's worth, I can do something like print name plus space is a good man. It's a good man. Okay, and that gets the job done. However, there is even a better way, which is by using the format method. And to do that, you can do that and then is a good man. Now, what do you have to do after the closing double quote, or if you are using a single quote, the closing quote is to say dot format and then supply the value that you want to put inside them. So first of all, I'm using this or you have to use this opening and closing brace as a placeholder for the values that you want to substitute, in this case name. So if I hit enter, see that I get my values substituted. Is that okay? Now this is the default behavior of the format method, and you can actually insert or substitute a lot of variables, as many as you want. For instance, I can do something like certain variable is a type of another. Okay, So I can, in my format method, I can put my values there. So let's say coconut, and my second variable is fruit. Okay, now if I hit enter, see that we have coconut as a type of fruit. Now by default it is using positions to insert. Is that okay? It is inserting this variables based on their position. So whatever you put here first, whatever you put first will be inserted here, whatever you put second will be inserted there. So that means that if I should make a mistake by exchanging the locations of the variables, so if I put fruit first and coconut second, then it's going to say that fruit is a type of coconut, which doesn't make sense. However, you can explicitly put in the numbers, the positions of the variables. Okay, so I can simply do this by assigning position parameters to in the placeholders. Okay, in the placeholders. So what is happening is that this fruit has an index 0, and coconut, which is the second parameter, has an index 1. So I can explicitly state their positions. Is that okay? Unlike the first one where no positions were inserted, Python resolves to you doing first come first serve approach. But with this, if I hit enter, you see that now I have the right order. Coconut is a type of fruit. Even though I define fruit first and coconut second, I am able to alter the default behavior by assigning the positions to it. Okay. Another way you can do this is by value. Okay, you can access the indices by value, and in this case, let us adjust this. So by value, I can define something like droop equals to that, and let's just call this food and say it's equal to that. Is that okay? So now instead of positions or numbers, I can now use the names that I have assigned. Okay, these names that I have assigned. So for instance, I can say droop is a type, droop is a type of food. Is that okay? Droop is a type of food. Now if I hit enter, you see we get what? Coconut is a type of fruit. So three ways. The first one is not specifying anything in the interpolation strings, variables, or symbols, whatever you call it, and then in this way Python is going to insert it automatically. So for first variable goes to the first position, second variable goes to second position, in that order. However, if you specify the positions for the argument, then you can organize them according to the way that suits you, and you don't necessarily have to put this parameters or arguments in order, so far as you have the numbers representing the positions of the parameters in the tuple that you pass to the format method. Then another way is by defining named arguments. Is that okay? So you assign names to your argument and then reference them inside your string using the names. So either way you have your result. Okay. Now you can do more than just substituting values in strings. Okay, you can actually use the format method to perform alignment. If I want to left align a word, is that okay? If I want to left align a word, so I can do something like this, and that, then do that format. So I want to left align the word let's say captain. Okay, captain. Now if I hit enter, look at what happens. So you see we have captain followed by some hash sign, okay, padding it to the right side. Now why did this happen? Okay, let me explain. See, this is our interpolation string or whatever you call it, and then this notations here, this values here is actually informing the format method to perform padding padding and alignment. Is that okay? So this 10 represents the number of spaces that we want our output to occupy. So you can see that we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. The word captain contains 7 characters, and because we want to fully occupy 10 spaces, it's padded it with the character that we supplied here. Is that okay? So if we should change this to star, for instance, then it will pad it with star. So the character that you put there is what you are going to pad the space to. So for instance, if we leave it empty, then yeah, it's probably going to do it with what? Empty spaces. Okay. You can also cause it to center align. Okay, you can center align, and to center align, all you have to do is to change this greater than sign to a caret. Okay, the greater than sign to a caret. So look at what happens. It tries to center the text. Now because we have the text is 7 letters, so we have a non-even number, so it's kind of doesn't have a perfect alignment. However, if we take an example like this, instead of captain we provide orange, which is an even number of letters. Now you see that we have 2 pattern here, 2 pattern there. So the same way, if we change this, we replace this by nothing, so it puts empty spaces beside it. So depending on whatever number we specify here, it is going to pad, it's going to fill that space with whatever character we supply. And please take note, you start with the colon followed by the character that you want, then we have the less than sign, the caret, and the greater than sign representing the types of alignment that you want to do. So the the less than sign is used for left alignment, the caret is used for center alignment, and lastly, if you want to do right alignment, you use the greater than sign. So if I hit enter, see that we have spaces to the left. In case you can't see, let me replace the space with a character. So you can see that we have 4 padding to the left before our value was printed. So this is another cool thing that you can do with the formatting, the format method, not just for string interpolation or substitution. Let's take another example. Assuming I want to print a list of numbers, something. Let's just take something. So I can do something like for num in range, and let's start from 1 to 10. Okay, and I want to print. Now please look at what I'm going to do carefully. So I have 0, okay, followed by width. Okay, then that format. Then inside here I'll put my num, and I will define width equals to 5. Okay, width equals to 5, and then lastly, is it the default behavior of the print function is to insert a new line at the end of the print. Okay, but then you can override it by supplying this positional this positional argument and specifying how you want the ending to behave like. So if I put, let's say, a /t here, it will tell print that anytime you are done printing, don't, instead of a new line, insert a tab character. Is that okay? So I am not going to put anything there, so I'm going to define an empty string in there. So this means that I am overwriting the default behavior of the print function, which is to insert a new line. Now if I hit enter, you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 separated nicely. Okay, so first of all, this range function here is what is responsible for generating the numbers. I will explain this in another video when I talk about iterations and loops. Okay, then so why are we getting these spaces? Is that okay? Why are we getting the spaces? So first of all, if you remember our positional arguments, okay, so by putting 0 here, you are telling the format method to put in the number, so which happens to be the first parameter in the set of parameters, so it will be inserted here, and that's going to be the number. Is that okay? Just talked about formatting strings. Is that okay? We just talked about formatting strings. The effect of everything is that now we substitute a value which is width and equals to 5 in here, and what this does is put the space of 5 character variables in between the numbers that are printed, okay, so that we have that nicely spaced set of numbers. Okay, so the spacing that you want are not the spaces a tab can give you, then you can use this trick or method to insert or pad your output with any number of spaces that you want in there. Another method of string formatting is templating, which was introduced in Python version 2.4. Now, the modulo or interpolation based templating, though powerful, is strict in terms of the format and that actually makes it complex and error prone. You have to remember all these variables after the s, the a, and after the %sign, the s to represent string, f to represent floats, d numbers, and all those things. And the moment you make any errors, then everything becomes chaotic. Okay. However, if you want to use the templating technique, you would first have to perform an import. You have to make the templating class available by import. So you do that by doing from string import template. And please take note, it's a capital T. Okay, if you make it a small t, you are going to have errors. Okay, now, so by doing this, we have kind of shipped the template class into memory, so it exists as an object now, and we can do anything that we want with it. Now, before you can use the templating method, what you have to do is define a dictionary of the values that you want to substitute. A dictionary is another way of organizing a collection of values or objects like we did for list and tuple. The difference is that dictionaries allow you to define key value pairs. Is that okay? Unlike tuples that you have just values. And then dictionaries are delimited by braces. So let's define a dictionary. So let's call it names, and it's equal to, so I'll define f name separated by a colon, and I'll pass my first name, so Eric, then a comma, then the next is s name, and I will pass my surname, which is Obin. Then we have AKA, and then colon, I will pass in professor. All right, so that defines my names dictionary. So if we check the type of names, you realize that it is what? It's a class dictionary. And if we print it out, we have key value pairs. To access my surname, for instance, all I have to do is to say names into brackets as name. Okay, and that returns Obin. So with a dictionary, you access values by their keys. Is that okay? Unlike tuple and list, where you access values by their indices, in dictionaries you access values by keys. I will talk about dictionaries in a separate video, but for now let's just use it for our work. Okay, so after defining the dictionary, now let's see how we do the templates. In the templating method, the placeholder that we use, or the symbol that we use, is the $sign. Is that okay? Unlike the interpolation or modulo method where we use the %sign, here we use the $sign. So this is how you do it. Template, then into brackets. So the string that you want to define goes in here. So I can do something like $, followed by the variable. So in here, the variable that you have to define are the keys. Okay, the keys that you have defined in your dictionary. So I can do f name as the first name of s name, and he likes to be called AKA. Is that okay? Now, after doing this, you are not quite done. Is that okay? The template class defines two methods: substitute and then save substitute. Now, for now, I'm going to use substitute. So then you continue with substitute, then inside the parentheses of the substitute method, you pass the list, the dictionary that you created. So in this case, the dictionary that we created is the names dictionary. Is that okay? Now, if we hit enter, see we have Eric is the first name of Obin, and he likes to be called Professor. So let's go back to our string. So $f name called the value of Eric. Is that okay? $s name called the value of s name, and AKA called the value of AKA. So it's kind of maps the identifiers that you define in the string to the dictionary that you pass. Is that okay? So this is how the templating goes. Now we are using the $sign here. So what if I want to add something like this? And for instance, last Monday he dashed me $100. He dashed me $100. Now this is going to be a problem because in the templating method, the $sign is used as a placeholder, or is used as a means of defining identifiers or variables within the string. So the template engine is going to try to define this as it knows. So the way we have to do this is to escape it. Is that okay? Now we are used to the backslash way of escaping, but in the template class, that is now how we escape. We escape the $sign. What you have to do is to add another $sign to it, and this tells the escape the template class that I don't want you to treat this $sign as how you treat $signs. I want this $sign to be treated as a normal $sign. So if I hit enter, oops, what did I do wrong? Invalid syntax. Okay, let me check it again. Oh yeah, of course, I didn't type it at the right place. Okay, so actually I was supposed to add it here. So full stop, last Monday. Okay, let's just make it short. He dashed me $100. Now if I hit enter, you realize that we have Eric is the first name of Obin and he likes to be called Professor. He dashed me $100. So though we inserted double dollar sign here, we only have one here, and the template didn't interpret it as it used to, because by using double dollar sign we are asking it not to interpret it as it knows. Okay, we just want a regular dollar sign. Okay, so in this example I use the substitute method. However, there is a second method defined called save substitution. The difference is that, I think taking an example would be great. Let's say that in the course of defining our dictionary, instead of AKA, I actually typed Nikki. Is that okay? I actually typed Nikki. Now, in our string template, I'm going to use AKA. So right now we don't have AKA as a key in our names dictionary. Is that okay? But then I am referencing AKA in our template. So what would happen if I hit enter? Oops, we get an error. And what does the error say? It says that key error, AKA. So this simply means that we are using a key that is not defined in our dictionary. So by default, when you use the substitute method and such an error happens, it raises this error. Is that okay? Now let's see how save substitution would work. So instead of substitute, we change it to save underscore substitute. Now if I hit enter, see that this one doesn't raise an error. However, it gracefully prints out the dollar sign together with the variable or the identifier that has not been defined. Is that okay? So if I go back to read this, Eric is the first name of Obin and he likes to be called AKA. So now I am prompted that, hey, something is wrong here, because I was actually expecting what Professor. So now I go back to my dictionary object. Oh, and I remember I didn't use AKA as a key, but rather what, Nikki. So come back here and change my AKA to Nikki. And now everything works fine. Eric is the first name of Obin and he likes to be called Professor. So that is the difference between the two methods defined on the template class. The substitution will raise an error if a key is missing, but then the AKA will just gracefully print out the name of the identifier that was used. So why do we have all these methods of string formatting in Python? Well, I think it has to do with syntax preferences. Okay, for instance, somebody coming from a C background would love to use the interpolation method a lot, because in string printf we use this formatting style a lot. Okay, so I think it all boils down to syntax preference. Personally, I enjoy using the formatting. Because I am coming from C++ and Java background, and I'm not used to this percentage or interpolation style of string formatting. So I prefer to use the string formatter instead. Okay, now there is actually another way of formatting strings. Yes, there is another way of formatting strings, and it is called formatted string literal. Formatted string literal, okay, aka f string. Now this is not available in all the Python versions. In fact, they introduced it starting from Python version 3.6. okay, so if you are using version 3.5, 3.4 and below, you don't have access to this method. You don't have access to this method. It is very simple to use and also very fast. The reason it is faster than the other methods that we've looked at is because when you use this string, they are actually compiled into bytecodes. Is that okay? So because they are pre-compiled, using them is quite faster. Okay, and then another advantage of using f strings is that the string expression is actually evaluated during runtime. Is that okay? So it gives you the ability to throw in Python expressions, and these expressions will actually get evaluated. So let's look at an example. Now, the way you create an f string is just to start it by an F or a capital F. Just that. Then everything that you want goes in here. However, if you want to do interpolation, if you want to insert some variables, you do that by putting those variables inside braces like that. So let's look at an example. So I'm defining a variable name called Eric Obin. Okay, then I can define an f string like hi, my name is that okay? My name is that. Then inside this, you put the name of the variable that you want in there. Now, if I hit enter, bam, it goes into your memory and search for the variable name and substitute it for you. So you have hi, my name is Eric Obin. That is just so fun. Okay. So you can use the capital F or small f. Either way, it will still work for you. I said previously that these f strings are actually evaluated during runtime. Is that okay? So for instance, if I change name to just small letter e, Eric, okay, hit enter, I can define an f string that says hi, my name is, then I want to put in here the name variable. Is that okay? I want to put in the name variable, but then I have the chance to call a method. For instance, I can do the capitalize, okay, which would convert this e from small to an uppercase. Is that okay? And if I hit enter, you see I get it done. I can even do more. My name is Eric plus space plus. Oh, okay, can actually do it like this. Okay. Oh, oopsie, wait. Yeah, remember I am using double quote on the outside. Okay, so I have to use single quotes on the inside. Okay, so using f strings, you can actually put expressions. Okay, you can put expressions inside strings, and whenever they are being printed, that expression will be evaluated. Any Python expression, in any Python, you can even call methods. You can even call. So I can do something like f string, the square roots. Okay, sorry, the square of 5 is, okay, then in here I can do f raised to the power 2. Square of 5 is what? 25. So f strings are quite powerful, but take note, they are only available in Python version 3.6 and above. Okay, Python version 3.6 and above. And remember, they are faster than all the 3 previous methods that we've talked about. Now I've talked about the interpolation method using the modulo symbol. We've talked about using the formatter class. We've talked about using the templating class, and finally we've talked about using F strings. So please remember, one way you get these things to stick in your head is to practice. If you are a newbie, just make sure every day you are spending about 2 hours on programming. If you have any questions, please post them down, post them in the comment section of this channel. Alright, this is the end of the tutorial. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, please pass it in the comment section below and let me know of any mistakes. I would love that. Remember, the name is Professor and this is Tech Foundation. Salute.